and welcome back to another episode of the WTF Sunderland podcast. I get the feeling this is going to be quite easily the easiest podcast we have ever done. They said that we'd give them 6 points quite easily. It doesn't seem as though that's the way it's meant to be. I do believe it's 11 years since they've won a league game against us. You can wax lyrical all you like about your Saudi money and things like that, but we will never, ever, ever be that classless. And to join me tonight, I've got a squad which Sunderland to be proud of themselves. Starting with the wonderful Mr. Falk. How are we?
Yeah, just back in the door, and just to correct you, it's been almost 15 years since the last beat us in the league. It's actually it's 11 games we're unbeaten. It's nearly 15 years. So if you think of the amount of things that have happened in the last 15 years, I mean, I don't want to go a little bit too uncouth, but there's a few things that have happened that have viewed very differently in the world these days since Newcastle last beat us in the league. And there'll be a lot of children that were born in about 2010, 2011 that haven't seen Newcastle beat Sunderland in a league fixture, and they'll be considering or around about kind of school leaving age coming up soon. So your children might become Mackems because they might just get sick of getting beat. But brilliant, mate. Yeah, really good day. I was there today. I have 7 games at St James's now, and that's 7 unbeaten. So yeah, I have to be honest. Someone said on Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, you look like you've enjoyed yourself. And yeah, we've been away a long time, but St James's Park is always very accommodating, and I enjoyed my day again at St James's Park.
None of us, unfortunately, made the game other than Graham, but Alex, I'm sure you enjoyed it with a beer or two.
Yeah, we were in the fire station actually, which, by the way, is unbelievable. And it was like a cinematic experience of watching the game. But no, I mean, it's just kind of crazy when you think about just how long a period of time it's been since we actually last lost to them. It's hilarious. I mean, I think I was 12. I didn't even have pubes at that point. Honestly, it was crazy. Like, just an unbelievably monumentous occasion once more. And yeah, I'm a very, very happy bunny.
Someone who I get the feeling probably did have pubes back then. Ian, how are we tonight?
I am fucking fantastic, thank you. Yeah, pretty good. Had a lovely, relaxed day. Got the bear looked after for a couple of hours while the match was on. Sat and watched it on the big telly in my house by myself.
You're opening a big bottle of wine whilst you're doing this.
Literally,
this is why we should. This is why we should be having a video podcast sometimes. Days like today, we should be having
a bottle of wine while I do this, which has proven to be a challenge, but not as challenging it is for a Newcastle to beat Sunderland at their own ground. So, Granit Xhaka was the only player on the pitch today that was a professional footballer last time they beat us in the league. Chris Rigg was just about to start nursery. So, have that with you. Bottoms up.
And Sophie, that is going to take some beating. Ian, just do me a favour, please. Once you finish with that bottle, please put it away responsibly. Do not throw it at a bus. That would not be advisable. Sophie, how are we getting on? You were at the fire station, and of course you were having a bit of a chat with Lee Howie and the unforgettable Ross.
Absolutely, it was unbelievable. It was incredible. What a way to spend a day. I mean, you've got Lee Howie sat there, and you've got Ross, who's he's getting mortal, bless him. But Ian's putting me to shame. I've got literally about half a glass of Prosecco, but I'm feeling fantastic.
I usually have a really, really, really thorough script, and tonight I haven't had one because this is going to go off on a tangent, left, right, and John Mensah, and I'm here for it, and I hope everyone who's listening is here for it. It's just going to be delirious. It's going to be absolutely delirious, and I'm here for it. I am going to ask my wonderful partner to go and open the bottle of Carver that's in the fridge, actually, because why the fuck not? I think we've getting past 5 minutes, Graham, so I'm going to swear now.
No, it's all right. I said if we can try not to swear on the podcast, and Ian was the only one that wasn't on in time. And Ian came on, he went, I'm feeling fucking fantastic. So that's the demonetized there. That's the demonetized. It was a Davina. He just said in the group chat, was that a Davina? Yeah, it was. Please don't say fucks or bugger or whatever it used to be. But it's fine. It's fine. It's Derby when I don't care. That's good.
Absolutely that. Graham, talk us through. I mean, did you travel down from Scotland this morning for the game, or were you already in the northeast before you went?
No, I did a good idea then a bad idea, so I decided me and Ashley stayed in the Hilton last night, and we drove down with our pal Kyle, and we were like, should we have just a couple of cocktails? And look, this is probably a different podcast for a different day, but what a lovely night out I had in Sunderland. Went to Keel Tavern, went to like that sort of area, and ended up in the Cooper Rose, which is just kind of for the old time's sake. But yeah, I said I'd have one or two drinks, then ended up being about 7, and I was on the pitches by the time, like, Cooper Rose had opened its dance floor. It was like that kind of point. So I woke up a bit ropey this morning, and then we got the metro over. But I never get bored of going to that place. And can I just point out, like, because I'll forget if I don't, because the whiskey's open, but I've seen over the past few weeks stuff about Regis and this, and should we change, and has he hit his ceiling, and this play's not good enough. And I seen a lot last week, and it really kind of fueled my Braveheart, I think someone referred to it as, a speech about not going in with fear to this place. But I said about not going in that place with fear, there's none to fear. There never was. And like, it wasn't a try and rally the troops kind of like, what do you call what Billy Jones used to do, a rallying call that John O'Shea used to do and all that kind of stuff back when we were like not doing very well. I genuinely have it in my bones that these lads have shown enough that even if like Enzo can't start, Nodi can't start, Ronaldo can't start, Ballard can't start, Roofs can't start. I mean, need the list go on with the players that we didn't have today. Like that team was nowhere near the team that played them in the home game. But I don't think any person in that squad, and that's what gave me a lot of confidence going into it. And like, if people want to listen back to the preview, haven't listened to it, like I had no fear about this game whatsoever because I know what these lads have got in the locker, and I think they've really embraced Sunderland as a culture. So there was absolutely no chance that even if we had 11 players out injured, the people that were on the pitch were going to bottle that. I mean, we're talking about Newcastle fans bottling buses, which I think is a disgrace, but it wasn't the only thing that bottled, was it? So it was a 1-0 lead, I think, was the other thing that they bottled. Had to get it in. But I had full confidence in them. And I said I wanted the head of Coventry City. I said I wanted the head of Newcastle. And I said if we didn't get it, I'd quite like the tongue and we could discard the rest. I think we've took the fucking lot, haven't we? Mainly the piss. But Dave, like, a great day, mate. And like, it's always a great day at St James's for me. Like I said before, I think I mentioned it. 7 games at St James's, unbeaten in 7, in all 7 that have been there. If you wanted me to, like, it was Ashley's first one today at St James's, and she said, "Where does that rank?" I don't think anything will ever touch the Paolo Di Canio derby because we banged in 3 25-yarders, and like the David Vaughan goal will, like, to the day that I die. If I die tomorrow, I'm just pleased I've seen David Vaughan do that in front of the Leazes end and run off, shushing them, laughing at himself because he can't quite believe that he did it. But for me, people might disagree that was better than Christmas time 2014 because we came back and we had so many players out and they were giving it all big licks about how we were going to falter in their electric atmosphere, which I don't need to say it. Newcastle fans have said it all about their own atmosphere. I don't need to go on about it. Their atmosphere wasn't anything to be feared today, and so it proved. So, yeah, Dave, like, I think it's about time that if we lose a game, if we get beat 1-0 at home off Brighton and we've got some injuries, calm down. Remember what the lads have shown you, and remember that it took 6 points off the Mags this season. They've been safe by March. Was my head on Mars after Port Vale? Yeah, it was. But by God, like, every one of these boys just get it. Absolutely love them. Proved it again today, and I knew they would. So yeah, brilliant, mate. Fab. Standard, as Sophie said, normal service. Is it ever paused? But if it was, it's been resumed.
Absolutely. I think they've brought the tongue for you. I'd like to say we took their soul, but they gave that away a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Absolutely. Sophie, I'll come to you first. The one thing I do want to mention just before we get into, if we haven't already been delirious, is the alleged racist incident. I mean, it's 2026 and you sit here and you think to yourself, should we talk about it? Should we just leave it alone? I know at the minute it'll go under a full investigation. They did the 5-minute protocol and stuff like that. I do believe from the reports that Joe Linton was even getting involved a little bit and kind of understandably questioning his own fans. There's just no place for it. It's 2026. Surely we're over all that nonsense by now, aren't we?
Absolutely. It's vile. It's disgusting. And this isn't me bashing Newcastle fans. You know, we've seen it across the Premier League all season with different teams, and I mean, it's just disgusting. Why would you even think to say that? You know what? You might be frustrated. I hate Newcastle as much as anyone, and they'll hate Sunderland as much as what I hate them. But to say that to someone, these lads are human beings. They've got feelings. They've got families. There's no room for it at all. And if that person has said some horrible things or done an action, you know what? The Premier League will, I'm sure, will come down hard on it. Newcastle should come down hard on it. We should kind of, you know, I think we've already put a statement out about it. There's got no place for it, and someone like that shouldn't be invited to a football stadium ever again, because it's a football game, and we all get passionate about football. Of course we do. We love Sunderland, sat here on this podcast right now, and then people in the stands love Newcastle. But to say that to someone is vile, and you shouldn't be in. It's sport at the end of the day. But yeah, disgusting, vile.
Yeah, hear from all of us, I'm sure. And not to devalue that, but getting back to the football, Alex, game of two halves, wasn't it? Silly little opening from Elborg and 09, I guess. But have they been told to play that way? What were your thoughts on the opening period?
Oh, yeah, kamikaze stuff that for about 9 minutes. Dear me. I had my head in my hands just in disbelief of what was going on. I don't know why Elborg played it to 09. I don't know why 09 tried to get out his pitch and wedge and chip some like laser beam ball to like Brobby or somebody. It was just ridiculous. Play the percentages, just play it safe, ease yourself into the game. I will say, however, though, I don't even know if it was a game of two halves. I honestly think from the moment that we conceded that goal, the next 80 minutes, we were the better side. Yes, they had a shot or two. Yes, they hit the post. I suppose it was kind of close, but we're talking about 9/10 of the game here where we weren't just slightly better. We were, in the eyes of the sort of the public as well, just comfortably better. And I think that says a lot for, I think, the mentality of the lads. But I also think it actually really shone a light on some of the strength and depth that we had. And I feel like as a fan base, it kind of touches maybe a little bit on what Graham said before. But, you know, everybody was up in arms about how many players we had injured. Rig, class. Talbi's not been starting, class. You know, there were so many massive performances. Geertruida actually, brilliant second half as well. And to that point again, you know, we're not just a team of people who try hard. We've got 20 players who are talented, and on top of that, they try hard. And I just think that's amazing.
Absolutely. Noisy neighbours at their finest.
Didn't hear the day, mate.
And we'll keep reverting back to that. The fact that you've got that first-hand experience, I love that so much. Ian, not bad for a reserve team, was it?
Nah, decent, wasn't it? No, it was good. I mean, I stopped sort of doing something or putting something on social media at half time because it got like 35 minutes in and I was a little bit of me with praying for half time, just get through with 1-0 and be fine, because, and I mentioned it before, last season, multiple times that he's made changes at half time. It wasn't tactical this time, it was just to be a little bit hungrier, I think. But obviously there's a lot more riding on this game, because despite what people might say, it is a big game and you would absolutely hate to lose that one. That we can make changes and we can get back into the game. And the second that we got that equaliser, yeah, they had a goal ruled out, but I genuinely only thought there would be one winner. I just couldn't. I was never worried. Even when Gordon got it in positions where he was getting it inside the defender onto his stronger foot, I was never really worried. It just didn't look like he had any conviction. Because he's shit. So, yeah. It was good. It was good. First half wasn't great, but we grew into it. We sort of got, I know we conceded in the first 10 minutes, which you don't really want to do with a place like that, because that's what kind of fuels their fans to be what they are, like obnoxious and loud and horrendous looking. But, you know, got through it. Scored 2 goals, they scored 1 goal. We won.
That is some cracking analysis. We scored 2, they scored 1. I think that sums it up and probably should be the end of the podcast. But we best keep going because I reckon we've got another couple of hours of this quite easily. Sophie, who stood out for you? I mean, for me, no, go on. It's all on you. Just forget about me. Who stood out?
Forget about you, Dave. Never forget about you. But I don't know, because you could have picked the whole 11 in the second half. You really could have. But for me, Alderete, obviously, Brobby will get the plaudits. Of course, he will. And he played fantastic. I thought Alderete was class, really did, and I thought Siddiqui was class as well. To really, you know what? I thought we controlled that midfield. I really, really, really thought we did. But you know what? We gave ourselves a mountain to climb. But by God, did we climb it? We climbed it and we conquered it. You could pick the whole team. You really could.
I think you can pick the whole squad. I think that's the great thing about this Sunderland team. And I think Sunderland is a football club, to be quite honest. And I think that's probably the difference between us and the visitors, even though we weren't visitors today. I've seen the little graphic of Newcastle 1, winners 2. I like that. I like that a lot. Graham, maybe slightly different there. I wanna have a bit of a love-in with him. A lot of people, this could have been a completely different story had it have not gone the way that it had gone today. But Luke O'Nien's character, to look back at that debut at Charlton where he got subbed off and the journey that he's gone on to today, listen, stupid decision and absolutely terrible bit of play. But to finish the game and be a winner in the Premier League away at our arch rivals, what a journey and testament to him. We constantly rave about him and his mentality, but it takes some balls to do that today, doesn't it?
Before going to 09, I really hope that, and I'm not going to say a Newcastle fan because I don't think they deserve even to have that. I know we think quite lowly of them, but the person that was racist to Catrowder, I really, really hope he enjoyed Brian Brobby, who is from of Ghanaian descent, is African, is a young black man bagging against his team in the bottom corner. I hope he enjoyed that. I hope he realised how much of a dick he really is. And I hope that he gets a book thrown at him. And again, it would be easy for me to class this as anti-Newcastle stuff. It's not. It's crap. Like, Newcastle fans are better than that. And I know people might want me to go in on them. That one in particular is not. But that's a racist. And there's a difference between a racist and a fan of a team I don't like. O'Nien, yeah, you know what? I could have strangled him 9 minutes in. I could have absolutely strangled him. And I could see the game plan. I could see what we were trying to do. Elborg managed to sort it out in the second half a bit more. It was get it into Brobby. Brobby holds it. We get up the pitch. It was dead simple. I don't think, and we really need to get onto Regis Labrise because, again, I really hope the praise is as loud as the disrespect because he's been getting pelted the past few weeks, asking if going to be near. Are we hitting the ceiling? Fuck me, boys. Fuck me, girls. Fuck me, whatever gender you are. Like, you really need to consider what you're saying when you say things like that. We're safe in March. We've done the double on Newcastle and picked up some fantastic results this season. And we've got loads of injuries off the back of AFCON. The boys are putting a hell of a shift and it's all been orchestrated by a fucking phenomenal manager that deserves so much more love than he's had over the past few weeks. But anyway, that's by the by. O'Nien, I've seen people still complaining after full time, which weird. Saying, oh, O'Nien got away with one and this and the other. Yeah, you know what? He messed it up. And I said before the game, I really hope this is O'Nien's like crowning glory and not where O'Nien looks like he's not a Premier League player. And in the first 9 minutes, I was like, oh no, this is the one where he looks like he's not a Premier League player. But I think we're all probably silly to write off O'Nien. Was it his best game he's ever had? No, but I think the strength of character to come back from such a mistake as a team. He said on his interview about it being the leaders that got him through. He's one of them. The whole team leads itself. And when it gets asked questions, really difficult, really tough questions like today, like Leeds away, like just being in the Premier League, like getting promoted last season on the back of 5 defeats in the league, it answers them. And I think that's something to be really proud of because I think that's something we've begged for characters like the characters we have in our squad right now for a long, long, long time. And O'Nien's right up there with the best of them. Do I personally think he has the actual quality to be a Premier League centre half? Probably not. But like, I wouldn't bet against it. I think O'Nien's response to that could only have been provided by someone as strong a character as Luke O'Nien. If he'd crumbled and would conceded loads of goals and he made that mistake again, and Newcastle were like begging for him to get the ball after that. The pressure was all on him. However many thousand screaming Geordies were in that crowd were wanting him to get the ball so he could do it again and mess up, and he never did it again. And let's be honest, did they really trouble us after they scored? And you can put that down to the midfield performance, which I thought was phenomenal. I thought Xhaka was really good. Really want to give a word out to Habib Diarra. I was seeing tweets last week saying he's no better than Didier Ndong. Stop. Stop it. He's clearly better for the simple fact that he's not going to have to get sacked because he doesn't want to play for us anymore. These boys as a whole, and I know this was meant to be a Luke O'Nien level of credit, yeah, bags of credit, deserves to have a pat on the back for how he responded to a massive mistake. He deserves a massive kick up the arse for the mistake that he made because it could have cost us big time and it needs to come in equal measure. But I will never and I will not, and I didn't in the preview show during the week, question the mentality and the commitment of any of these boys because there's no reason to. The amount of times I've seen people say things like before the Man City game at home, oh, we're going to get absolutely stuffed by these. And I know that you kind of programmed that things are going to go south, but how many times have we said this is a new Sunderland? The boys have shown you on the pitch time and time and time and time again, not just their skill, their quality and their class that they have, because they're a bloody good team. They've shown you their character and the commitment and the understanding of what Sunderland is as a culture. Fucking enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. Like, this doesn't always happen. And if you're in it for winning every week, then Sunderland's not the club for you. It's not. Sunderland aren't going to be a club that win every single week. No club is. Sunderland certainly aren't. But this, for a generation of Sunderland fans, is as good as you've got in terms of character, nous, understanding, a manager that's tactically astute, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. We're in a fantastic position as a club because of the characters that are within it. You can recruit well, you can sign well, you can spend loads of money, you can spend £500 million if you want and win the Milk Cup. You can do whatever you want, but if your characters don't understand things like Derby days, then you're going to be let down. We've got boys here who might lose some games now and again, but please watch the Leeds game back. Please watch the game back today, which I'm sure you will. I certainly will. And tell me that you don't believe in the character of this team because they've got it in absolute abundance. And they completely 100% get it. People talked about Getrauda looking like he wasn't interested since the Liverpool move. Look at his Instagram post. The boy's on loan. He might not sign for us. And he's straight out. Tying in Weir's red and white. He gets it, man. And you're praying for people to get it. Like, some of these players will be moved on. God, I love Patrick Roberts more than my life itself. He got moved on because it was the right time for him to move and the right time for the club to move in a different direction. This will happen with players. O'Nien will be one of them. But the characters we've got within the squad, if you cannot appreciate what we've got now, I don't think you ever will. Like, these boys have given me some amazing days. Like, amazing days. Playoffs, Ballard moment, Mags at home, Mags away, Chelsea away. And they've all come in the past 18 months. I never want this to stop. And if that means I occasionally have to watch us get a frustrating defeat against Fulham or Brighton, yeah, I'll take it. All good. Like, when the push comes to shove, Dave, these boys have testicles bigger than a lot of Sunderland teams I've seen in the past. And
yeah, it's a long way from those League One days in recent memory with...
It's a long way from Premier League days, Dave.
Well, of course
it's a long way from the Premier League days when our side would turn up in March and decide to play all right. Like, it's a long way from the David Moyes days. It's a long way from the last time I seen a team really have this kind of like character and like we're gonna win this for ourselves, for the club, for the manager, and for everyone connected with Sunderland Association Football Club was the Roy Keane days. a lot of people talk about the Roy Keane days as some of the best in memory, and I understand that. A lot of people talk about the Peter Reid days the same, and I was there for both. This is every bit as good as both, if not better.
Completely agree. Yeah, I was just going to make the point of, you think about when we first went down to League One, we had quality for League One in an absolute abundance, but things weren't right. Things weren't right from the top to the bottom of the football club. Some of the recruitment was wrong. Some of the characters were wrong, and it just takes one bad apple. There's a person that I want to mention today. Just seeing his reactions to the camera, and I've been probably one of his biggest critics recently, and I think he's got quite a lot going on personally. I think his time with Sunderland will probably be up at the end of the season. Excuse me. But I tell you what brought a little tear to my eye and a little bit of joy to my heart today was seeing Wilson Isidore enjoying every single minute of that. And he didn't even get on the pitch. And if you need to know where this football club is at, whilst things haven't been going very well for Wilson, and whilst he might have been linked away with a late move in January, that resolution, that character, that joy that he had today tells you everything about what you need to do as a footballer at Sunderland Football Club. And there's literally some neighbours around about 12, 13 miles up the road who could probably learn from that, to be quite honest. But that's enough of a tangent from me. Alex, Graham's right. Graham's completely right. We do need to mention it. I think he got it right, and it was interesting hearing a couple of the players after the game talking about, I think it was Chris Rigg actually, said we didn't really change game plans at halftime. We just instilled a bit more belief. We instilled what this meant to everyone. Probably mentioned the people up in the gods at St James's today. But Reggie Labrise, form is temporary, class is permanent, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a real gem there in a manager. I think he could be that manager we've been waiting for a long, long time, to be that 5 to 10 year manager. I actually read somewhere that it was in the last 15 years, we've had 15 permanent managers. Wouldn't it be great if we just had one manager in the last 10, or in the next 10, I should say. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected. I love listening to his interviews because he never gives clickbait. He never gives the journalists what they want. A snide comment against the Geordies, maybe an over an emotional response about our players. He's just matter of fact. And you can just imagine what that translates to in the dressing room. It's probably gold dust. Even some of the greatest managers, the Mourinhos, maybe the Arsene Wengers, they always had that little kick the bottle moment, or, you know, throwing the bib at the changing room, all that kind of thing. I could never see that happening with him. I just think tactically, as a person, he is the perfect fit for what we needed at that moment in our journey as a club. And nobody thought he'd be the Messiah, did they, at that point? You know, nobody even knew who he was. I remember, I think the Sky Sports news presenter said his name, Labrie, like that at the time. And I was thinking probably the same. And now he's, you know, the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, that recruitment that summer was of Labrie was long, drawn out. Plenty of reactionary head losses from the fan base. Again, maybe we're at a point where we trust the process and we don't quite get so reactionary because, you know, maybe Reggie is how we all should be. Not too high, not too low, believe in what we're doing. The boys are certainly giving us everything that we need. You can't question their commitment. Every new character that comes into this football club seems to have the right ethos. I'd imagine Chris Rigg's dinner table tonight's going to be quite interesting because he definitely enjoyed that one today. I think it's safe to say he's a Mackham now and not a Geordie.
You see, he said that in the press conference afterwards. They said, "Can we call you call you McEnroe, Chris. You went, of course you can. He was taking selfies like with the Leazes end at the end, and then I think he FaceTimed his dad. And someone said his dad was in the way, and I can't confirm it. I don't know, but I think we've seen he might have even converted his dad, and which is good. I think that's one of the biggest things, that if you can convert in the right way, you have to respect that as well. But have we touched on how good Chris Rigg was today? Because I mean, Ian, he was great, wasn't
He was absolutely superb. He has been for the last 2 weeks. He did say in the interview with someone, it might have been Mr. Copley, that his dad was at home. His dad wasn't at the match today. So whether he's just said that to make sure his dad gets no jip from his mates around Hebben, who knows? But Chris Rigg was so good. And I don't want to say I called it, but he gave, because he's not a winger and he's slightly unorthodox in how he plays, he gave Lewis Haircut Hall a bit of a problem, all day. I don't think I know he had a bit of quality from his side coming in with balls in the box, which is great, but he can do whatever he want to. So it is what it is. he was class. Chris Rigg's been great for weeks.
it is what it is.
Been out. It is what it is. It is. He came in the Brighton team, and people obviously raised eyebrows, thinking, we're knackered if he's having to play. But he was probably our best player then. He was arguably our best player today, and he's 18. He could only buy a pack of 20 Marlboro last year for the first time in his life. Do you know what I mean? And I'm here drinking a bottle of wine in my box room, and it's fucking fantastic.
You reckon he might have bought a cigar at some point today?
Yeah, but I bet it was like a vanilla flavoured cigar.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been tobacco flavoured.
No.
But he can do whatever he wants to. Just in awe of the man.
Top boy.
Because that's what he is. He's a man. And I think a big thing to mention as well is, and you've already touched on it, is all the players that we've brought in, it's the character of them. They might not have the same ability that other players will. Probably on the pitch today, if you go through their team, I know they had players missing as well. Cry as a river, we did. But the character of who we brought in, or Nine to come back from what he did, because my head was on absolute Mars with what he did. The character they've got. After that, you would never have known. If someone turned on after 15 minutes, you would never have known there was an error, because he didn't let it get to him. And fair play to him. I'm not his biggest fan. I've never have been. But fair play. And the thing is, he didn't try and make a joke of it. He stood up and he owned it in his interview when they mentioned difficult moments, and he just said, "What? You mean when I gave them a goal?" He didn't try and sort of sugarcoat it or sort of tiptoe around it. He just basically said, "Yeah, that was my mess up. It was on me. I apologise afterwards." But you can't just dwell on it. You've got to sort of move on with the game. So
the joys of accountability, I think, is what that is, and that comes from the top. Not getting too high, not getting too low. That comes from Lebray. So there is definitely a bit of a love in for that. And talking about accountability and other teams not having accountability, correct us if I'm not wrong, Graham, but I don't think Newcastle sent out any players, did they, for a post-match interview?
Yeah. I didn't catch up with Cotley since I seen the tweet. We shared some texts, which will stay professionally. Hello, did he have a good day? Yes, I had a very good day. Thank you very much. Excellent. Nice to hear that, James. But I'm sorry if I'm teaching you how to suck eggs here, everyone, but essentially, if I'm covering a game up here like Rangers or Celtic, the league, the Scottish Premiership, legally has to send out the manager, which you'll always get, and then not legally, it's part of the kind of media package. You have to also send out a player. Sometimes they'll send out two, but I think they have to literally just send out at least one. The Premier League will 100% have these rules in times 10, because they're doing half-time interviews and that now, aren't they? Which is just wild, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that's by the by, innit? They, to my knowledge, didn't send anyone out to do an interview. So literally no one footed the bill for their shit performance and letting their fans down again. And I don't care. I couldn't care less. But I think when people wonder about the way Sunderland's run and are we doing this right, doing that right, we've been through some pretty tough moments, even in the past 18 months at times, where, Leeds away, for example, all this kind of stuff. Like last season, I mean, when we got beat 2-1 and kind of automatic promotion was kind of in the bin, 5 defeats on the way to going into the playoffs. Our players always stood up, put their shoulders out, tightened their core, and kind of took the questions on the chin. I think that if I'm a Newcastle fan, like my head is on Mars after that. I'd want every single one of them fronting up because, like, all jokes aside, which is hard to do because I'm giggling as I'm saying it, but you're talking nearly 15 years since their last one, and £500 million compared to our what 140. Like that just shouldn't be happening, especially in a game as big as that. Look, anyone can beat anyone on the day, but their two performances this season compared to our two performances just pale in comparison. I mean, I'm delighted, couldn't care less, but like, yeah, poor, really poor. And then to see Visa like in Pro Piece Man of the Match post after the game is just like chef's kiss, and their youth players liking comments and that. Look, I don't blame them. I'd be happy for them as well.
Sophie, we've had a bit of a love in on Labrie. We've had a love in on Lugo 9 after his disastrous moment. Good time to do it though, in the 9th minute instead of the 89th minute. We've had a good chat about Chris Rigg and how he's now an official Mackem, and that will be forever recorded and shown to him and his grandkids in the future if he has any. But Brian Brobby, we loved him from the day that we signed him on this podcast because of the whole Mr. Brobby. And it will never get old. It'll never get boring. Jeez, he's just... I said I could envisage him being like an Emil Heskey. So much better. So much better.
He's so good, isn't he? He's just class. That's the only word I've got for him. And every time you say Brobby, I always think of Mr. Blobby. Well, guess what? The Geordies have been blobbied. They've been blobbied. There's been a robbery. Everything to do with that. But you know what? His hold-up play was fantastic. It was fantastic. You know what? That Botman, I know he did get like kicked in the face. I think he didn't fancy it. I think he was being writhed around. He looked knackered. And I'm so pleased that he got rewarded today. You know what? I'm just going to call him Brian. I'm so pleased that Brian got that reward today because I actually think that there's been times this season, there's been games this season where we've all said it, he just doesn't get the service. And that comes down with problems with, maybe we need to go out in the summer and get a winger and all that kind of stuff. But he was fantastic. He led the line so fantastically. How strong he was, and to keep their centre halves at bay. And look, they've got tall, big, physical centre halves. To keep them at bay while our other wingers and attackers rushed forward. And you know what? He missed the initial shot, and then to follow it up. You can see it. You can see that he's got a mentality to never give up. You can see it. And I actually thought in his post match, he actually comes across as a really quiet lad. I think that's quite mesmerising to me. But yeah, he's just fantastic. And you know what? You put some quality wingers. I mean, we have got good players around him, particularly attackers when I suppose when they've got the rub of the green. But if you put a really, really quality winger and you getting the balls into Brobby, he'll score goals, and it has to be over a period of time. You've got to give him patience and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it was fantastic today. Can't say any highly more than what I've already said.
By the way, like he's what, 6 foot? I know he's a big
Yeah.
boy, but he's like 6 foot. He absolutely ragged around as 6'7", like giant of a man, like he was like a toy. Like also on the goal, Lewis Hall gets nutmegged by Enzo again. That's 2 and 2. 6 and
That's
6.
because he's got a shit haircut, Graham.
Shit haircut. He's seen it and went, you know what? I know Enzo's hair is not the best at the minute. I think it's gonna look better when it's grown out. I think, but it's certainly it's better than Lewis Hall's. But yeah, man, Brobby. Can I just say as well, Dave? I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm I don't want to say this because it sounds like I'm trying to be like a cool kid on the TikTok, but aura, just pure, unadulterated aura. Like rips his shirt off, doesn't go mental, shows off his 8 pack that is basically in his chest, pats his chest, and kind of just goes, "Fuck you." Like, fuck you, and just walks over to them. Like, Getrauda, like, jumps on the back, it's like, yeah, yeah, fuck you. Like, and then Jensen Jones, and amongst it all was the one that made it for me. I was like, who's that? Oh, yeah, it's Jensen. Oh, yeah, I bet you had a class day, because obviously he's a young Sunderland lad, but look, Brobbey did so well getting us up the pitch, and a lot of our good play, as good as the midfield was, Dave, I felt and if people watch this back, I don't know, I'll have to watch it back as well. But I felt like that long ball eventually from Elborg was actually working when it landed at Broby's feet because he just kind of was like, took the ball into his feet, took it into his chest, into his arm, and he was like, well, come on then, beat us for strength. You're not going to. And then when he took his shirt off, I don't want to get all homoerotic on this podcast because it's not the time or place, but dearie me, that is a machine of a man. He has a chest and little shoulder bits. I don't know what they're called. Don't know what they're called. Little shoulder bits at the top,
They're called
bigger than
trap.
my traps. That's it. I mean, Ian's just said in the chat as we're chatting there, specimen. I mean, real specimen of a man. And I actually think his celebration of the goal might be one of the most iconic because it's not going mental. It's not giving it to them. It's just walking over like, look what I just did. I'm class, by the way. But yeah, brilliant. And what a signing, by the way. 20 million?
Absolutely. Mentality monster. That's what that bloke is. He does not like to lose. You can
He
see it a mile off.
must be a bastard to play against.
Oh, but when you can consume a back four on your own, that's pretty impressive. And I dare say that he could sit down and eat all four of them in one sitting. He
Yep.
could consume them quite easily. There's also a cracking bit when you do the editing of this podcast where Sophie's just purely in love with him. She's got her head tilted to the side. She's staring, and I'm like, honestly, when we get to Christmas time, it's like, oh, find me chipolata is the way that Sophie looks at Brian Brobby, and it's like absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for you to see that bit.
By the way, in the absence of Bruno, did you notice that it was Joe Linton that was celebrating the corners and the throw-ins?
Must be a Brazilian thing.
Play the game, not the occasion, dickhead. And that might
Absolutely,
help.
absolutely. And also stop thinking you're as good as you are because you're clearly not.
£40 million, by the way, Joe Linton.
Absolutely. Imagine what 17 million would get you.
Janet Jagger.
Absolutely. I'm kind of lost for my next question, but we've got to enjoy the moment. We're going to dine out on this until next year's fixtures and probably beyond. Can't wait for it. Alex, what's next? The boring folk at the football club will not let us dream. Granit Xhaka keeping our feet on the ground. Reggie Lebris keeping our. So now, Granit, now you've got your 40. By the way, just want to quickly put it out there. If ever you're looking for someone to embody what Sunderland Football Club is, Granit Xhaka's interview through the week absolutely had me on strings. Absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it resonated with me because my parents work so hard for me and owning a pub, and I do it now. I've tried to find a bit more of a work-life balance, which they struggle with understanding a little bit, I think, not in a bad way. But that really, really tugged on my heartstrings the other day. And I think he's a fantastic human being, let alone footballer.
It goes back to what we said before, Dave, doesn't it? About like when we lose a game, like we did last week against Brighton, and there's things to be legitimately angry about, and Fulham. And look, not everything's amazing because it just isn't. Because it's Sunderland, we don't win every game. But when you seen that interview, you just kind of went, ah, right, okay, get it. Like I love when he said about when he first arrived, it felt like home because it was like Basel. It was full of people who like, and I know it's a bit cliche sometimes to be like working class and all that. I think there's a varying range of Sunderland fans. I've met rich ones, I've met working class ones, I've met what would be the one middle of the road ones? I don't know. I've met a lot of different variations of Sunderland fans from different walks of life in different parts of the world. One thing that Sunderland has, and it doesn't matter if you're from America, and I've met a few people from America this year. I've met people from Carlisle, where I sort of grew up a little bit around that area with my nana growing up. I've met people from Shields. I've met people from down south. The one thing that Sunderland has in abundance is like an understanding of community. And I think when Jack, I said I felt like it was home because I recognised it, like it was like Basel. People want their football team to win at the weekend. I think forget about, I'm getting really political here, which is not my style, but forget about class systems for a minute. One thing that Sunderland has is a huge community where people just love Sunderland Association Football Club, and you've seen it today again. That away end was class, by the way. I've been touched on it. That away end was absolutely class. I'm flying me, like I'm getting emotional here.
Well, while you're on that, sorry, Alex, I'll come back to you in a second. But talking about community, there's probably another little bit of official chat that we should mention, Graham. The 65 tickets that got cancelled. Talking about community, talking about love for your football club. I know there was some private messages between Alex, ourselves in the group chat, and I understand, or I'm trying to understand both sides of the argument, but those 65 tickets that were being cancelled, I don't think it was done for profiteering reasons, and that would irk me. That would not be looking after your own community. What's your thought process on that?
I've been trying all week because I got tagged a bit on Ready to Go because I like Ready to Go. I know some people find it difficult in the same way they find all social media difficult. Actually, it's the one part I don't mind. I like it. And I go on and I don't mind chatting to people. There's a lot of really nice people. Met someone today, actually. Wayside Wanderer, officially for the first time. Didn't tell me about 5 minutes into the conversation, but it was nice that he did, so I knew who I was speaking to. But I hope he had a good journey back as well. But yeah, like I've tried to get a handle on what actually happened in the situation, and I'll never get to the bottom of exactly what happened because I wasn't part of the conversation. But it seems like, in essence, there's a man that buys tickets for fans in bulk, like a branch, I believe, should. I think that's how a branch does it, and then will help out by getting people trains, and the people that he buys the tickets for have the correct loyalty points. But some of those tickets, I think it was three from what I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers. Some of those tickets went to people who weren't the ticket holders, and the club have correctly, I suppose, in some senses said no, that's not the case. That shouldn't be happening. It's got to go to the people who have the points. You can't ticket farm and all that kind of stuff. And I do kind of get that. Unfortunately, it seems like the guy who's helped this, who's been doing it for a long time, the League One years, and a lot of people have. There's been a lot of people who've backed him on this. So I think it would be fair to say it looks like he's been a very helpful man. I've never met him. I don't know. So again, I don't know the full details of the situation, but to my understanding, this man has helped people out with tickets for a long time. He's helped people organise trains, and he's got Sunderland fans to the match to be together and not like being profiteering from it. If I'm wrong with that, fair enough. But I feel really sad that I went and Ready to Go in amongst this whole like really amazing feeling. There was one fan who legitimately had a ticket that could go to the game that was part of the 65 that was bought by that branch that had those tickets cancelled, and he couldn't go today. And I'm sure he's not the only one. And he's wrote on Ready to Go that he turned his phone off and went for a walk down the beach or something, and that makes me feel really sad because I think I understand if you have your ticket. My ticket today was in my name. I went to the game. It's my ticket. I've earned that ticket. I've been to enough away games. I have enough loyalty points. I understand that. And if you don't, I understand the frustration if there's people that can't go and they feel like they're missing out on like 39 points or something. I think it went down to 40. I do get that. But it doesn't seem, from what I can tell, like this guy was necessarily just giving out tickets to anyone and just letting anyone go in. That really doesn't seem to be the case. And I've read quite a bit of information on it because I was quite reluctant to speak on it without knowing a little bit more about the situation. But underneath it all, no matter the rights nor the wrongs of it, it makes me really sad to see that there was someone there that legitimately had a ticket, and I think there was a few that had his ticket cancelled as almost like a guilty by association thing, and missed one of the greatest away days. That would kill me, and it would make me really fall out of love with the club if they did that to me. I don't think the club listen to this podcast, but if they do, your strongest thing that you have, and you post it on your socials all of the time, and correctly so, and you do a bloody magnificent job in showcasing it. Your fans are your lifeblood, And whether you're winning games at St James's Park or whether you're getting beat 5-0, 6-0 down at Bolton, we and those people will always be there. If they're doing something wrong, have a conversation with them. Don't punish people and really, really hurt them. Because if that happened to me today, say like, so Phil runs the Scottish branch. Say I'd said to Phil, look, Phil, I'm working, mate. When you're applying for the Scottish branch tickets, I've got enough points. Can you get me in phase? I was in phase 2. I'm on 60. I'll be on 69 from today. Woof, 69. And say that he got the ticket, and then he messaged me to be like, mate, I got 10 tickets today, and 2 of them, someone's given to someone who actually doesn't have, it's not in their name, they're giving it to somebody else. I'd be like, okay, that's not great. And he'd gone, actually, the club's just cancelled all 10 tickets, you can't go. And I missed that today. I would have been devastated, and it would have, it's cheesy, but it would have hurt my heart a little bit. And I really think a conversation probably needs to be had. If there is people who are like hoarding tickets out, yeah, I don't agree with that either. I think if you haven't got enough points, you probably shouldn't be going. But like I had a ticket for the Bournemouth game. I couldn't go. I couldn't go to the game. Long story short, me and Ashley were like, I don't think the car's going to make it that far down. Let's just like, we're going to change your mind on it. Say what you want. That might not be loyal. That might be stupid. But I rang the club and I said, look, we're not going to go. I know it's Friday. I know I'll probably lose my loyalty point. I know you probably can't refund it. Is there any chance that you could just put this back on sale though for somebody else who can take it? And it was like, no, can't do that. Impossible, not possible to be done. Those 65 tickets that were cancelled, whatever reason it may be for, and I might be completely wrong with what was said and what has been kind of put across in all the forums and stuff. They then resold them, so it is possible. They just didn't want to help anyone out by putting my ticket back on sale, even though I said I'm happy to lose a loyalty point. I'm happy not to get a refund. Just help a fan out. So if you're going to start chastising people, you need to have some sort of system where if somebody can't go, they can at least hand their ticket back and it can be sold on, just like the home games. Just like the home games. But please, dear God, whatever you do with it, don't punish fans who are loyal. And there's some people that should have been there today and they weren't. And I'm so sorry that they weren't, because they should be reveling in that. And there's a part of them in the back of their mind that'll be going, if I hadn't bought the tickets to that branch and that branch hadn't been punished, I would have been there today and I would have had the best day of my life. And it's very easy to be very positive on this, and it's very easy to kind of maybe avoid that conversation, and maybe people will disagree with me. But my primary concern, Dave, with Sunderland will always be the fans. It'll always be the fans, because we'll be here long after all the players, as much praise as I've given them. We'll be here long after the custodians of the football club, long after the team that deals with tickets. Please, please, please sort it out. And if someone's doing something wrong, please have a conversation with them. If they keep doing it wrong, then sort it out. But please don't let people who, it seems to be to me, have enough loyalty points from what they've said, walk along the beach while we're winning at last minute at St James's. That makes me feel sad.
Yeah, definitely. Here.
Not as sad as the Mags, though.
Very, very articulately put. And yeah, I'm sure nobody does listen to us. Why would you? We ask you to unsubscribe all the time, but sometimes some things do need calling out. Just as
subscribe today, Dave.
Oh, absolutely.
Today.
I tell you what, if you subscribe today, you can unsubscribe the next time the Mags beat us. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Alex, finally, we went off on a tangent for about 10 minutes there, but so 40 points, then we were told that let's get 43. What is it? 7 games left of the season. What's the aims? What are we aiming for?
I think on a personal level, I'm going to aim for my heart rate just to calm down a little bit. For the first time in about 15 years, we're going to enjoy a calm end to the season with very little riding on it. Wow. I cannot wait. On a professional level, I do fancy the lads for a top 10 finish. I don't imagine a scenario where Granite's saying, get on the beach, lads. I think they'll turn up week in, week out. They'll put the hard yards in again. Maybe pessimistic. I don't think we're ready for a European Conference League charge, and I kind of don't want it. Just looking at some of the other teams, we were stretched as it is. I'm not sure I want to bite off more than I can chew at this current moment. But imagine looking at the end of the season at the table and we're sat in 10th or 9th. Is there a possibility that we could still be the most successful promoted team ever? I don't know. If so, let's go and smash that out the park and sit there chest proud. We are the best ever promoted team. I think that's probably a pretty good target to finish the season on, but we'll settle for top 10.
Definitely. Remember those words before we'd even kicked the ball, and Granit Xhaka turning up and going, I want to be part of something. I can see what this group can do. It's not just going to settle for beating relegation. It's almost as if the man knows what he's talking about, isn't it? Ian, you're not one to get too excited. You're very, very balanced. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm following Graham's aura. Could this be the most exciting summer transfer window ever? Now, it's going to have to go late because we got a World Cup, unfortunately. But, well, unfortunately, depends who you are. Lovely piece in the Scotsman, by the way. Just get that little plug in there. Could it be really exciting? I tell you what is exciting from my point of view. Our scouting network, I can't wait for the Curacao signing that we're going to say. I might be bringing Dick Advocat back in the coaching staff as well. Hope his daughter's doing well, by the way. Yeah. Excited?
It has the potential. Some people would say balanced, some people would say pessimistic. The reason I am the way I am is after the Charlton game in 1998, Graham will remember it well. The other two might not have been alive for it or were far too young. Whoever I sat with was my dad's best mate. We always drove through, and after that game, I was streaming with tears because I'll have been 12 at the time, and he just said, "Ian, it's only a game of football, son," and that's kind of how I sort of look at it now. I never think it's the end of the world. Obviously, today's got a bit more on it because there's people. Sophie's just replied, "Not alive," because obviously you work with people who support them and follow them. So it does mean a little bit more with things like today. But it is only a game of football at the end of the day. There's far more important things. Like people should be able to go out and play football without being abused for the colour of the skin. Which I think is a ridiculous thing. Personally, this summit does have the potential. What we're a little bit of a worry is if one of our lads has a really good World Cup, then potentially, obviously, there's suitors that'll come in, but obviously that would obviously drive value up as well. I've read something earlier where I think we're 2 or 3 points behind Everton in 8th, and depending on who wins the FA Cup, that's potentially a European Conference League spot, depending on who wins the FA Cup. So that, and if we finish where we are now, I'll be over the moon, because at the start of the season I said I thought we would have nothing to worry about. On the last game, we'd go into it and it'd be quite comfortable, and we wouldn't need to be worried about where we're at, or wouldn't need anything from the game. But as players come back and get up to speed, a strong end of the season, and if we miss out on Europe on the last day of the season, then it's mind blowing from where we were this time last year. Well, not so much this time last year, but around the same time where we were losing away at Oxford, we were losing at home to whoever we lost at home to, QPR probably, to where we are now, where we'll be. Because perspective is an important thing. I feel like this time last year, we were obviously in the Championship, and this time we're frustrated at losing at home to Fulham, who are an established Premier League team, and Brighton, who are basically, they're doing what we kind of want to be doing. Like they've brought the players in who've then moved on, like people like Casado, who's moved on for £100 million plus, and obviously he's our Noah Siddiqui. Basically, Noah Siddiqui could. I don't know if Congo have qualified for the World Cup, but if they have,
It's in
Ben's going to tell us.
It depends. I believe they have a place in the playoffs, but at the moment, Nigeria are disputing it because they thought they had an eligible player in the team. I can't quite remember exactly what it is, and they've put that towards FIFA, which means that if it's proven that they have had an ineligible player playing, I think it was, then potentially Nigeria could take their place in the playoffs. So at the minute,
Okay.
no, they're not. But they might be, but they also
They
might
might.
not be.
Well,
But
look, good performances in things like that, as it adds an extra 10, 15 million quid to any potential resale value, which is unfortunately in the position we're at. We are. That's what's going to happen. I know Alex touched on it earlier, where it'd be nice to have a manager that we have for like 5, 10 years, but I'd love it. I'd love for it to happen, but there'll be bigger things for Regis Labrise. I think if someone comes in from the top 6, then realistically, it's not something we can sort of challenge or hold them back from. He'd go with my best wishes, of course, but we're in a world now where everything revolves around money, and we don't have as much as other people. And we don't have as much as Newcastle either, but we've beaten them twice this season. So
yeah, Alex, I'm glad you just put that in there, because literally this is a horse note for the future. Know your guests, where you're trying to get excited about summer transfer signings, and he's just halved off half of our squad, including the manager. So I'm glad we're going to make a couple 100 million. But thanks for that, Ian.
I've only mentioned one player.
Well, honestly, you've just given me the doom and gloom. You're drinking a bottle of red. We've just beat the Mags. Just edit that bit out. I'll come back to you. Sophie, are you excited about the summer transfer window?
I'm not fucking accepting this, mind.
How's
Like,
it? How is everyone in? They're all dead.
Yeah, yeah. We might lose players in the summer, but at least we'll all be dead soon. Sweet, glorious death. It's fine. Look, people might have great World Cups, and we'll bring them in, but it'll be an exciting window, because I have full faith that what the business we'll do will be the right business and be what we need. It'll be unfortunate that players who've got to see will move on, of course, but for the greater good of the football club, it's what would need to happen. It's what evolution is. You move on from things like this.
Ian, I just want us to find the next Freddie Adu. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want. That is them. Alex and Sophie are not going to have a clue who I've just mentioned there.
No.
But me, you, and Falk have every idea who Freddie. You remember him, don't you?
Thing is, you're saying,
yeah, I played Football Manager, of course I did.
you're saying Freddie Adu, but like, if I'm honest with you, all that's kind of really in my head when we talk about football players. He's in my head, in my head. Talbi. By the way, if that shot went in on 20 odd minutes, whoa, go on top corner that.
That was Kevin Phillips away at Barnsley vibes. That
it was marvelous.
So
there's a great video on Twitter, by the way, of me mate who was in the vaults in Sunderland, and Zombie was getting played, and the whole place is bouncing, singing that, and it's superb. I will retweet it for those who, for some reason, follow me on socials.
Piece of editing from himself there. Well done, Sophie. You can go first, because I need some excitement back in my life. We've just sold Noah Siddiqui, and I'm a little bit sad, if I'm quite honest. If anyone's just like logging in or listening right at this point, for whatever reason that may be, we haven't sold Noah Siddiqui, and Reggie Labrise has not gone to Manchester United. Good, bad, and your Hume for the day. I mean, your Hume could just be Trey Hume, Trey Hume. I've now followed you, and I'm nearly a bottle of Prosecco deep. So this is unbelievable.
I think everyone can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least I get a bit more excited than selling Noah Siddiqui, but here we go. That's where we're at. What's your good, bad, and Hume, Sophie?
My good is that Chris Rigg was unbelievable today. My bad is that the Mags think that they're the top dogs of the North East. That's the bad thing, because they're not. And the Hume is, I wonder if KLD's got some fluffy gold handcuffs to put round Reggie Labrise's wrists after Ian's statement. That's my good, bad, and Hume.
I thought we weren't getting homoerotic on here, but here we go. Brian
Lucky I didn't talk about balls for a change, really.
Brian Brobby's cheese grater and golden fluffy handcuffs.
Great cheese on Brian Brobby.
Ian, good, bad, Hume? The good's obviously that bottle of red that you've consumed in this podcast.
Yeah, I'm on my last glass, to be fair. The good was the result, because it seems like whenever we go to St James's Park, we can do whatever we want to. So I've got a lot of time for doing whatever you want to, especially at St James's Park. The bad was the first 9 minutes. After that, it was quite good. And the whom would be, I think Chris Rigg is our option on that side of the pitch for the rest of the season, because there's no reason why he can't go out and take the piss for the next sort of 12 weeks, however long's left in the season. I don't know what month it is or what day it is, to be fair. I'm just elated.
We can clearly tell. Alex, you're good, you're bad, you're Hume.
I think the good is knowing that Geordie, Josh, Adam Pearson, and True Geordie are all going to have a terrible night's sleep. That's probably the good. The bad, Newcastle United's conduct, fans and club, terrible. And the Hume, I don't know if anybody's watched the highlights back, but if you haven't, definitely go and do it. But there's nothing better than when Trey Hume runs in at the end. And I don't know what he's saying, but it just looks like he lets out some tribal scream in Brobby's face. You can just tell how much it means to him. It's like if I was on the pitch at that exact moment. I love him, my Northern Irish prince. And that's that.
And I'm going to give my good, bad Hume before we come to you, Graham, because you were there. So I think it's only right that we let you, and the fact that it's your podcast, to be quite honest, but I just like to take over every now and again. My good is the fact that we let Newcastle go 1-0 up to make them think that they actually had a chance. Absolute muppet. When will you ever learn? My bad is the fact that we haven't got Newcastle again this season, which means that we've got to wait for another 3 points or 6, as it may be. And my Hume, I'm enjoying this carpet ride. This carpet ride is fun. Graham alluded to it earlier, and I'm really, really looking forward, even if Ian has tried to dampen my spirits of a summer transfer window and losing our manager. Oh, he took himself off unmute.
Fuck off, Tim.
And that's another good, getting Ian to nibble when it's just a game. It doesn't matter. So it's been an absolute treat for me hosting this. I love the fact that Graham gives me a bit of responsibility. I love the fact that I've got a whole new community of Sunderland fans, because living so far away makes it difficult to touch base, but having you guys around all the time just means quite a lot to me. So I apologise for getting emotional, but it's quite an emotional day. Graham, just to bring back some nuance and some rallying calls, you're good, you're bad, you're Hume.
Beat Good's pretty simple. Beat the Mags, and deservedly so. None of this. It was just an own goal. 15 years, 11 games. Like, the whole idea of, what did the flag say again? Welcome to the region's capital. Act like it. Act like it. The bad. I don't like having a go at other content creators, even if they're Newcastle ones. But I cannot get my head around why one of their content creators would film himself at the end of a derby that you've lost in the last minute on his phone, going absolutely tonto to himself. Like that, and I'm sure Newcastle fans see through this just the same as I do. That is someone whose main interest is not the football club. Their interest is themselves and how many views and likes and content and rage base they can get. We need to move on from that, I think. Just chat as fans. I think that's the best kind of content. Not filming yourself, because if the Mags done that to us, which they wouldn't, I wouldn't be filming myself. I probably wouldn't be able to, because I'd be going absolutely tonto. Let's stop doing it. Me Hume. What is me Hume? Maybe this might have been the most enjoyable season I've ever had as a Sunderland fan. I'm starting to think it might be. Some of the playoffs and that, you could say that was the most enjoyable. But the playoffs was there was nothing about the playoffs that was poor. But when kind of it all dampened down, and 4 or 5 weeks later, you kind of went, "How's this gonna go?" Because like we all knew the story of what happened with promoted teams and stuff like that, and you thought, "How is this gonna go? Where's it gonna go?" And then we signed well, and we started well, and then just like even when you think this season might start petering out, the Fulham defeats, the Brighton defeats, and you think we're going to be safe, but we're going to end up in like 15th or something. You get like this massive win that just rejuvenates your season and gives you momentum that makes you think, oh, maybe it's not over yet. Maybe it's not over yet. And it's of course it's Sunderland. There's a defeat of Port Vale in there. Like it wouldn't be Sunderland without that. But I think it might be my most enjoyable season I've ever had. I always say, and people find this weird, but 2013-14 was one of my favourite seasons. The Great Escape, getting to Wembley, Bardo's last minute goal. Yeah, let's forget about Hernandez equalising about 30 seconds later and just remember the penalty shootout, beating the Mags twice. For me, everything I've mentioned on the podcast, the community that is here, the fact I get to be able to speak about it, I take the mick and say that I hate this podcast. I do. I hate the podcast, but I like speaking on it. I like speaking to you guys. That's fun, and I enjoy it. I've enjoyed it for a long time, and I'll enjoy it maybe for another couple more months. But I think it might be the most enjoyable season I've had because, in reality, the bad bits have been not that bad. I think I've lost my head twice. Brentford, and within about 10 minutes of that, I was on the whole defensive Enzo because I love him. Love Enzo. What a player, by the way. And Port Vale because, well, don't want to get beat off Port Vale. On that, I think we should end here. I can't remember his name because he's a forgettable character. And I'm sure that you'll say, well, I'm a professional footballer and you write about it. Yep, you're living a better life than me, mate. But the lad that did the Shearer celebration and scored, whose name completely escapes me, I hope you had a fucking great Sunday afternoon. You silly, stupid arsehole. 2-1, 1-0, 6 points. Good night. Enjoy yourself.